welcome back to the channel. So today we are doing a highly requested video on macro times. So I'm going to be breaking down each session. So we've got the London session, New York AM session and the New York PM session. I'll be breaking down each macro and showing an example of what we look for going into each macro session. So ICT explains there's only 3 times of the day that we look for opportunities in the market. We look for opportunities between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. New York time, which is the London session. Then you have the New York session, which is from 9:40 to 10:10. That's the New York session macro. That's the macro time you look for your entries. And then the New York PM session is from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. It's in the afternoon. That's the PM session for the New York. One thing I'm going to quickly mention is about our signals room. If you're trying to take your trading to the next level and get one-to-one support on your trading and improve it so you can actually advance to the next level, I will literally one-to-one any questions you guys have who are members of the signals room. I literally am talking in and out, explaining to them if they got any questions, breaking down charts with them, and also allows them to take the same trades as me and profit whilst learning ICT concepts. So this is one of the trades we took this week. Easy 1 to 2R, first TP smash, final TP smash. This was like a 1 to 2.5R, easy 43 handles profit. I'll leave a link in the description for the signals room. We're just killing it inside the group. It's going insane. We're actually gaining too many members at the moment, so the prices will be going up soon. So secure your spot now. It's only $1.60 per day. Alright, so getting into the first example, we got the London session. So heading into the London session, the macro runs from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. So let's mark out 3 a.m. here and 4 a.m. So we look for our entries between this window. Prior to the session, you want to mark buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity and wait for price to push above and sweep it and then displace lower or higher and then targeting the opposing liquidity. So let's see how this plays out going into the London session. Alright, so as you can see, going into the London session, prior to the London session, we can see that buy side's been swept. So we're just going to quickly label that on our chart. Just put like something like just swept. Nice and simple. And then a displacement would be below this level here. So if we get a displacement below here, alright, so we're coming up to the 3 a.m. macro. Alright, so we've just displaced below this level and we've created a bearish fair value gap on the lower time frame. So that would be a valid fair value gap. We are literally only 5 minutes before the macro. So this trade would be valid here. So you would enter off this 1 minute, targeting the opposing liquidity. You put your stop at the highs and targeting the final sell side liquidity, which gives you a solid 1 to 4R. So really you take anything better than a 1 to 2 risk to reward is valid. You don't want to be looking for anything less than a 1 to 2 risk to reward. You could also run your first TP at this minor sell side here. So you could run your first TP just here, and then your second TP here, and then your final TP at the final sell side liquidity. Alright, going into this New York AM session. So this is the main silver bullet macro which we look at. So this is the one which I pretty much take every single day. You get a nice clean setup. It's between 9:50 and 10:10. Between this window we look for an entry. This is the 5-minute chart, so just waiting to see if we get buy side or sell side swept going into the New York session. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, buy side has been swept going into the New York session. So I'm just going to quickly mark that out. And then I'm going to drop to the lower time frame onto the 2 minute to get a cleaner entry on this. So that's the opening range gap. And then you can see that price has displaced below this level here. So price has displaced through this level. And now we'll be looking for a fair value gap entry between 950 and 1010. So there we go. We got a fair value gap just between, so we got a displacement and a fair value gap just after. So we've swept buy side. We're inside of the macro, 950, 1010. We've got a fair value gap and a displacement above buy side. So you would take this as a short targeting. You target this sell side liquidity here, which is just coming out of the London session lows, basically. So you'd enter short here and you put your stop just above the highs and your final TP at the lows. You could take your first profits at this level here. So your first TP can be here and your final TP at the lows. So let's see how this trade plays out. There you go, right. So first TP has been hit and then you would set your stops to break even. So it's a risk-free trade. And then just either let it run to break even or your final take profit. And there you go, as you can see, final TP was hit. So that was an easy like 1 to 4R on that trade, and we got 116 handles, which is massive. For a New York session, that is very good. 100 handle plus, congratulations, that's a great trade, you know. Trades like that, because we only have a risk, like the max we risk per trade is 25 handles on NQ. And then if you're hitting 1 to 4Rs and you're getting 100 plus handles, then you can lose 4 trades in a row and catch one trade which gets you 100 handles and you're still at break even. That's the power of risk management. All right, so let's go into the PM session. I'll show you an example of a PM session trade. Taking a look at the New York PM session trade. So I've marked out buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity. This is the lows for the AM session and this is some equal highs which we have on NQ. So going into the New York PM session, I'd like to see these highs get swept and for a displacement lower targeting these lows, or these AM session lows to get swept and then a displacement higher targeting these highs. So let's see what we get going into this session. With the PM session, I look for my entries between 1:30 PM and 2:30 PM. So the macro time runs from 2 PM to 3 PM, but I look for entries from 1:30 PM to 2:30 PM. So as you can see here, the lows have been swept going into the PM session. So you just quickly mark that out like usual. And now we'll look for a displacement and a fair value gap for our entry inside of the macro window. So we would look for our entries between, where's 1:30? 1:30 and 2:30. This is one of the trades we took this week inside of the signals room. And I believe, yeah, we hit take profit numerous times in this trade. It was a great trade. So a displacement would be above this level here. So from here, we've already displaced through. So just mark it as displaced. And then we have a fair value gap at the bottom. So going into 1:30, we have a fair value gap. We've tapped into that fair value gap. We've displaced higher. So this is where we caught our entry inside of the signals group. I sent it in there. We swung our stops at the lows and put our take profits at buy side liquidity, basically. There was numerous entries to get into this trade. There was also like an entry around here. It pushed up slightly going into a more cleaner macro entry. But I wanted to take this fair value gap at the bottom as it gave the best risk to reward. From a tap of this fair value gap, we swung our stops at the highs and we swung our take profits at the highs, and then our stops at the lows, which gave us a 1 to 3, which is still a good risk to reward trade. And let's see how this plays out. First take profit at this buy side and final take profit at the equal highs. See, that's another entry there. Inside of the macro. Alright, there you go, first TP hit, and you just put your stop at break even. It's a risk-free trade, and then you just let the rest run. Yeah, this is what happened with this trade basically. First TP was hit, we had our stops at break even, and it never actually reached final TP at the equal highs, and it was just chopping around mostly around this area all the way until the end of the New York session. So we ended up closing out for basically it was a really good trade, to be honest. We caught like a 1 to 3R in this trade, risk free after the first TP. But yeah, going towards the end of the New York session, we ended up closing out about here because it hadn't already hit final TP. And that's that trade for you guys. So PM session trade, so in simple terms, you look for trades between either the London session, the New York AM session, or the New York PM session. But the highest probability session is without a doubt the New York AM session between 9:50 and 10:10. If you just trade that, just look at that each day, 5 days a week, and that's all you need to become profitable with trading ICT concepts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more content like this coming out in the future, I'm going to be dropping every single Monday. So subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on so you're updated when I'm actually dropping. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Baby, look, got the fade job with the Botox, yeah. Don't paint job.